guys, welcome to Queens of the Yard. It's your girl Sheena, and we're doing things a little bit different today just for this episode. You know we like to go live, but we didn't have an opportunity to last week, so I wanted to make sure you got all the juicy details of all the things we were talking about this week. Queens of the Yard celebrates the women who reign with purpose, pride, and power across HBCUs, from campus queens to community leaders, and now queens behind the sports spirit and spotlight. Each episode highlights women shaping HBCU legacy on and off the field. Hosted by me, Sheena, Queens of the Yard blend sisterhood, sports, storytelling, and unapologetic culture to amplify the brilliance of HBCU women, past and present, where every crown tells a story. So, welcome here to HBCU Game Day. And again, I'm your girl Sheena. We are going to talk about some really cool things today. Thank you so much for joining. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe here on HBCU Games Day YouTube channel. Today we're talking about Title IX. It's more than a rule, it's a game changer. We talked a little bit about emerging sports last week and the impact that has had to women's sports. So we're going to dig a little deeper into what Title IX is and why it's beneficial for women's sports. We are going to talk about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy and his impact on HBCU sports. Often we talk about the things that he did, his Birmingham letter, his, I Have a Dream speech, and things he did in his own community, but we don't talk about how that impacted HBCUs. We're going to go through our Queen of the Week, so you got to stay tuned for who she is this week and our weekend rundown. So, Title IX. Let's get into it. So, how did it start? So, Title IX is a federal civil rights law passed in 1972. At its core, it just says that no one can be discriminated based on sex in any education program or activity that receives federal funding. So it's a protection measure that protects sports across the genders to make sure that there is equity and equality in those sports. So that obviously includes athletics. If a school gets federal money, which most colleges do, almost all of them, they are required to provide equitable opportunities for men and women. So it shows up quite differently in different spaces. So we want to make sure that our partnerships, the people that we partner with, we've seen Black Girl Vitamins partner with a lot of schools. I know that they are part of the WSSU Powerhouse. They are sponsored for the Powerhouse. And then I think Howard is also a beneficiary of the Black Girl Vitamins. So it goes beyond federal funding. It also taps into partnership opportunities. So we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to compete in real life with these sponsorships, especially with like NIL deals and things like that, that we typically see in men's sports, but now offering them to women's sports as well. So athletic scholarships is another beneficiary of the Title IX agreement. The school has to distribute fairly amongst men and women programs. We talked again about emerging sports last week, and they have to have funding and a budget for those women programs that they are up and coming in the NCAA tournament format. So some resources and equipment. They have to have facilities. They have to have travel. They have to have equipment, coaching, medical care, marketing. All of those things are protected by Title IX. And we got to make sure that, again, those resources are distributed fairly. You can't have, I know a couple of years ago, we saw in the NCAA basketball tournament how the men's facilities were vastly different than the women's facilities. And Title IX is in place to protect against that. So it's not about being the same, but it is about being fair and making sure that all these athletes have the same access across the board. So it's important for HBCUs because it's, we're at a disadvantage in so many spaces with funding, with support, with marketing and partnerships. On one hand, your HBCUs, obviously we have a tighter budget, so compliance can be quite tight, especially when you have, your men's or your women's. I know, for example, and this is not an example of Title IX, but our women's team is doing vastly different than our men's basketball teams are right now at WSSU. So we know that if we put the resources into both sports, that they're able to perform at a higher level. So we see growth in women's basketball. We see growth in softball, volleyball, soccer, and even bowling. Auntie has an amazing bowling team, and they are notorious for how well they do in the championships. And if I remember correctly, I believe they won like the last 2 years. So those are things that Title IX protects. So it's increased visibility for these Black women athletes and women athletes in general across the, race and ethnicity spectrum. Those of them, yeah, that participate in HBCU sports all are a part of it. And again, Title IX isn't just for HBCUs, it's for all collegiate institutions. So now we have the opportunity to do more in these sports that support women as they go on to, graduate and go on at the professional level. They have the opportunity to compete fairly across the board with the same resources that our men's athletics do. So with NIL, because we've been talking a lot about NIL, conference realignments, and emerging sports gaining traction, Title IX is more relevant than ever. Any time or money or exposure, roster spot shifts, schools have to ask, are they still equitable? Are women athletics benefiting from them too? So these are checks and balances that the institutions have to do to make sure that they have the opportunity to fund each sport respectively. So when you hear Title IX in conversations about teams, about scholarships and new programs, it's not just policy. It's opportunity, it's visibility, and it's fairness in college sports. So we're going to talk about how it directly connects to specific programs. So we'll dig a little bit deeper. We talked about Title IX, we talked about emerging sports, and we'll go a little deeper into those. Drop a comment about different programs that you've heard of or different policies that you have questions about, and we'll make sure to deep dive into them on next week's show. So, what do you guys think about Title IX? What HBCU program deserves more attention? Tell us here again in the comments. Let me know where, we saw the gymnastics program at Fisk. They were relevant for a few years, and then they didn't make it through the emerging sports program, and they shut down. So I want to know, what women programs, what women athletics are going on that need more support. Drop them in the comments. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at QueensOTYardPod. And then me tended to leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. What programs do we need to support and we need to bring here on the show. So jumping into equality and equity, we are going to talk about the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And as we reflect on his legacy, we talk about his impact in civil rights and education and voting rights, but we don't always really connect the dots when it comes to HBCU sports. So today we'll talk about how Dr. King's work helped shape the athletic space that we celebrate every week. He fought for access and equality and equity and dignity. And in those same principles are the foundations of our HBCU athletics. During segregation, Black athletes were largely excluded from predominantly white institutions, conferences, and professional pipelines. HBCUs became safe havens and launching pads, allowing Black excellence in sport to thrive when doors elsewhere were closed. So we talk about, like I said, we talk about the different impact he's had in education, in churches, in the way we do business. Dr. Martin Luther King was a huge impact in the civil rights movement. He wasn't the only one, but again, we just celebrated his birthday. So we wanted to take a little time to just dig a little bit deeper into it. HBCUs don't just necessarily educate students. They provided opportunity and they protected opportunity. Because of the civil rights movement, HBCUs gained stronger institutional legitimacy. Athletic programs received more visibility and funding. Black athletes could travel and be seen on larger stages. His advocacy for equal equity in access and education directly supported the growth and survival of HBCU athletic programs. So integration really kind of changed the game. We not only see Black students at HBCUs, but we also see white students at HBCUs. And after integration, many top Black athletes began attending predominantly white institutions. So now we have integration where we have, Black students, white students, other ethnicities, other races, all on the same campus, where those were typically afforded to only white students. But HBCUs didn't disappear. We actually doubled down on culture, community, and development. HBCUs, as in today, remain spaces where athletes can be seen as whole people. The pipelines for leadership, the different opportunities we have in D9 sectors. We have all these different things that make HBCUs special. Our culture centers like band and alumni in the community, where all of those things matter. All those things line up with Dr. King's belief that progress isn't about access, it's about collective uplift. And we see that very often in the HBCU space where we, one comes up, we all come up. We want to make sure to cultivate our alumni and make sure that there are opportunities after graduation for students to take part of. Today, Dr. King's legacy lives through MLK Classics, Unity Games, and rivalry matchups hosted by HBCUs every January. I know I was a part of the HBCU Classic, or MLK Classic, down in Spartanburg, South Carolina for 2 years. I had the opportunity to do operations with them, and it's just more than like a tournament. They go out into the community. They have a parade. They're a part of the parade. They have a day of service. So the athletes that perform in those tournaments are able to go out into the community of Spartanburg and do, projects and different cleanup efforts that support the MLK Day of Service. It's a 2-day tournament. I'm not sure if they had it this year. I didn't get any information on it this year, and I haven't seen anything on it this year, but it's a really cool program. And I'm sure that there are other tournaments and other classics that go on that are, in support of the MLK dream, if you will. So those type of events, I'm a big fan of classics and tournaments, invitationals. I love those kind of things that are off the regular beaten path or the regular schedule for HBCUs, because it gives them an opportunity to travel other places, gives them an opportunity to put back into the community in those places. And that, that legacy that MLK left, that we have to continue to support each other. All while making sure that we are fighting for equality across the board with our PWIs and our HBCUs. In the era of NIL, realignment and shifted opportunities, MLK's legacy reminds us to remember who benefits from progress, what opportunities are equitable, and are we protecting Black institutions while expanding access? So we're proof that equity and excellence can coexist, and that progress doesn't mean forgetting where you're coming from. Dr. King once said, "We are not makers of history, we are made by history." Every time an HBCU athlete steps on the court, the field, or the track, they're carrying that history forward. Leave me a comment and tell me what MLK Classic or HBCU game means the most to you. If there's a local classic that we need to know and promote, I want to know about it here in the comments. And do you think that HBCU sports continue to carry Dr. King's legacy today? Are there things that your institution does or your alma mater does that support MLK's legacy? And if not, how can you hold the fuel to the fire and hold them accountable to make sure that we are still doing the things that provide progress in our spaces? All right, it's Queen of the Week time. I know we just talked about Dr. King, and he's not a Queen of the Week, but let me tell you who is one of my favorite people. I've had the opportunity to meet her, and her best friend's name is Sheena, so I will hold that very dearly up for the Sheenas. Shout out to the Sheenas. I am not the Queen of the Week, but Miss Jaqcie McWilliams Parker is our Queen of the Week. Our Queen of the Week, Jaqcie McWilliams Parker, is a trailblazer in CIAA athletics and a powerful force behind the evolution of HBCU sports. She's the first female commissioner of the CIAA, and she leads one of the most historic conferences in college athletics with vision, strategy, and purpose. She has quite the resume. She's a former athlete herself. Miss McWilliams Parker brings lived experience to every decision that she makes. Her career spans athletic administration, compliance, conference leadership. She gives her deep understanding of the business, policy, and people that power college sports. She's a strong advocate for Title IX, diversity in leadership, and creating pathways for women, especially Black women, to lead at the highest levels of sports administration. Miss McWilliams Parker represents what modern HBCU leadership looks like. She's bold, she's strategic, and unapologetically committed to excellence. So I am a huge fan. Like I said, I got to meet her. I've seen her quite a few times, and she's someone that I respect and I look up to in the space that I'm in. You guys know that I want to go back to school for, sports management. And if I have to look at like role models or people that I look up to, she's definitely at the top of that list for me. We also have Sid Marshall is another, role model of mine. Who else do we have? Tiffany Dawn Sykes. She's another role model of places or women that are in the administrative side of HBCU athletics. And I really am honored to honor her this week. It was not hard to pick her. It was not hard at all. She's definitely making moves in the sports arena. And thank you so much for all that you do for the CIAA and for HBCU sports in general. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the example that you set of excellence and balance. I follow her personal page on Instagram, and she's always traveling. Her husband are always doing really fun things. And that's something that I really kind of look forward to. Like, what is Miss McWilliams Parker up to right now? So thank you again to our Queen of the Week, Mrs. Jaqcie McWilliams Parker, Commissioner of the CIAA. Have you guys got to meet Jaqcie Williams? It's a live name. Jaqcie McWilliams Parker. I don't want to mess it up. And it has a special spelling, so I never want to mess that up again. Steve slapped my hand one time. Was like, you're spelling it wrong. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. So, again, talking about balance, something that was really important to me in selecting Miss Jaqcie McWilliams Parker in this week's Queen of the Week. Balance is also something that's very important to me. I recently started hot yoga. I know we have talked about our New Year's resolutions, and becoming healthier was one of my New Year's resolutions. So I had an opportunity to go over to Bennett College, which is an HBCU here in Greensboro, North Carolina, all women's. They focus on social mobility and education. And they have these, it's like a whole space for wellness. It's called the She Care Wellness Pod at Bennett College. And it's in partnership with the B.L. Henson Foundation, which is led by Taraji P. Henson, and Kate Spade, New York. And they offer this amazing wellness space that includes rest pods, a pod deck for fitness and yoga, and a wellness center at the Catchings Complex.
What's up, you guys? It's your girl Sheena. I am here on the campus of Bennett College. Y'all know I love my HBCUs, and I know y'all used to seeing me for football, but this ain't no football. This for the girlies, okay?
So I got the chance to go. We did a yoga session. We did a sambo session over at Catchings Complex. And they have, like, you can rent, like, the pod for like an hour. You can go in there, take a nap, you can read, you can do whatever you want in there. It's the cutest little space. And I'm going to insert my video of us going to that. And it was ironic because I wore my VUU shirt. Quick shout out to VUU, Virginia Union, part of the CIAA, where we love us some VUU over here. Over at HBCU game day, you know, I've had a chance to go up there and take part in their football and all the things. They did really amazing this last year, NCAA football. So shout out to you, VU. But back to the She Care Wellness Pods. Now I'm not in Greensboro, so I actually do hot yoga here locally. And I'm gonna tell you what, if you're looking for a workout, if you're looking to sweat, if you're looking to challenge yourself, sometimes I really have to get myself in the moment. A big part of yoga is, you know, honoring your body in the moment, honoring what your body can do right now. And I want to quit like every 5 minutes while I'm doing it, but I have to remember, and I have to like recenter myself to say, hey, it's okay if you can't do this move. It's okay if you can't do that, but do what you can do and love what you can do, because your body is doing those things. So, wrapping up my New Year's resolution conversation, just remember, find something that your body enjoys doing. I have a gym membership, and I can't say that I love going to the gym. It feels like, I don't know, it feels too much like work. But I have decided to, you know, hot yoga is something I've done for years, and I really enjoy doing it. So I really leaned back into that this year. I'm in my journey to become healthier, and I really, really appreciate the space that I've given myself. So I want to honor me, and I want to honor you in whatever it is that makes your body do its best thing. So if you used to play basketball and you want to get back into basketball, go up to the gym. Your community center has open gym. Your rec centers, they have open gym. Go throw some balls around with these young kids, with the YNs. Go play ball. Show them how to do it. If you flag football is another thing that a lot of community centers offer. Like, get back into it. Do something to move your body. Healthcare is not at its best right now, and we really have to take our responsibility to do the things that we need to do to take care of our own bodies. And sometimes the gym can feel like a chore. At least it does for me. It can feel like a chore. So find something that your body enjoys doing. I'm this close to getting back into roller derby. I want to play roller derby so freaking bad again. I don't know what to do with myself. But I have to remember, like, I played roller derby like 10 years ago, if not more than that. What year is this? Oh, it was more than that. Probably like 15 years ago. I don't know, but I love it, and I want to get back into it so bad. So I'm very tempted to get back into roller derby. So we'll talk about that on Friday's show. We're not doing a recap this week. A lot has happened in basketball since the last time we talked, so I'm going to skip our weekly rundown this week, and we will go through that on the live show. So make sure you stay tuned. We will be live at 4, our usual time, right here on HBCU Game Days YouTube and on Facebook. We got a lot of Facebook watchers, and we thank you guys so much for wherever you're coming from for watching Queens of the Yard. We want to, again, remember the legacy that Dr. King left behind, and we want to continue that legacy through progress and equality and making sure that we're upholding our own duties in our communities. We don't have to wait till MLK Day of Service to be of service. You can partner with your local organizations, your local community partners, and become an advocate and become a servant in those spaces. So I challenge you to find a nonprofit or an organization that supports something that you already do and you're already passionate about, and give some time there. Take your time, talents, and treasures there as well. Just as much as we love our institutions and we want to give back there, we have the opportunity and the responsibility to do those things in our local communities. So, wrapping this all up, I want to say thank you for joining me for another week of Queens in the Yard. I'm your girl, Sheena. Make sure you follow HBCU Game Day. Download the app. You don't want to miss any of the HBCU news. Some of that news comes out so fast, I can't keep up. So if you can't keep up like I can't, just download the app and you'll get a pop-up every time something happens. Well, I ain't gonna say it can be overwhelming. Sometimes it can be overwhelming for me, but I'm able to go in on my own time, scroll down, find the stories that I want, find the features that I want, and go from there. Always catch up on our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, subscribe, share with your friends. And then always, if there's any topics you want me to cover, if there's anything you guys want to talk about, you want to bring light to any programs that you want to shed some light on, definitely bring it here. I'm always looking for the things that you guys are interested in, because I just don't want to be up here talking. I mean, I can be up here talking, but I just don't want to be up here talking. I want to talk about the things that you all are passionate about too, and I can't be everywhere. So let me know what programs at your institution or any institution that you find out about. You got questions about a conference, you got questions about policy. I want to dig into those things. I want to dig into what makes our HBCU sports and athletics go round. If you want to nominate a Queen of the Week, absolutely do so. Hit me up in the DMs on Queens of the Yard Pod. You can find me at Tendon 2. Find me anywhere, HBCU Game Day, all those places. You can shoot me a message and say, hey, Sheena, let's talk about this on the next week's show. Until next time, protect the culture and tell the story. Bye.